Hello and good morning. Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about what things I'm still getting used to here in Russia. I've only been living here as a foreigner, as an Englishman for what, 4-5 months now? And let me just start with the immediate thing. Check out these stairs. The reason I'm starting with these stairs is because I think every Russian must despise these stairs if they take, if they use public transport. And look, after, I'm all for getting the blood pumping. I'm all for a bit of moderate exercise. But, when these things are like, last week they was covered in ice, yeah? And navigating them is just a pain in the backside. And can you imagine babushka with some bananas, bread in her bag, trying to get up these stairs every day? I've seen a couple of babushkas navigate these stairs, and it doesn't look fun for them. But yeah, I know for a fact Russians must hate these stairs. That's why I started with these stairs at train stations, because you might be looking at that saying, well, there's only, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of stairs. Well, that's fine. That's because it's to the platform. But if you look here, I believe there's 7 sets of stairs. 7. And yeah, after a while it's like, oh, really? Can't be bothered. But at the same time, one thing I will say is a lot of the problems that I encounter here with my life in Russia are first world problems. I don't really have any major problems living here in Russia. It's just first world inconveniences. I wouldn't even classify them as problems. But when you have to, basically I use public transport for pretty much every part of my life here in Russia. And after a while this just becomes annoying. But that leads me on to my second point: public transport. If you live outside of a city, which I do, and this would be interesting to know as a foreigner if you want to consider moving to Russia. But sorry for my sniffing, by the way. It's bloody freezing. I believe it's -15, so I'm sniffing because I'm a little bit cold and my nose is running basically. But I feel like the fact that I live outside of a major city, or just a city, life is a little bit inconvenient, and that's again another first world problem. But I have to rely on public transport all the time, and getting around isn't the most convenient at all. For example, when I was doing my visa process, my goodness, to get to some places took me 3 hours. I'd have to walk 15 to 20 minutes to the train station, and then that train ride took like 20 minutes. Then I'd have to go to the bus station, wait there, wait to get on the bus. The bus ride took an hour. Then I'd have to get on another train, and then I'd have to, that train journey is basically, all in all, to get to this specific place, which only took an hour or 50 minutes in a vehicle, it took me about 2.5 hours. And that's just one way. That's not there and back. So that was a major inconvenience. But I just feel like I'd mention that point because I have a driving license. This is the first time in my life that I haven't driven a car, and I don't know, it's very I don't know what the word is. I'm adapting, but I'm considering perhaps relocating. I don't know. I'd definitely consider a vehicle if you're living in Russia, because getting about just using public transport isn't the most convenient at all. And I thought I'd mention that because I do not live in a city, right? And another thing that I'm adapting to as well, in England vehicles are very cheap. For example, here we have an Opel, which I believe is just a Vauxhall. But this car, I don't know. I'm not an expert on vehicles. There's a Kia over there. Because they import these vehicles, they're at a premium price. So if you buy a Russian car, I believe it's cheaper. But the cars are very expensive, so not only is life inconvenient for, you know, using public transport, but the price on vehicles is expensive as well. However, here's the caveat. Cars in England are very cheap. I had 2 cars in my lifetime, which is a Vauxhall, so basically an Opel. Yeah, had 2 Vauxhall Corsas. They cost me about £650. So I'm not sure what that is in rubles. I'll put it on screen. And the first one, I believe, cost £400. However, the caveat is the insurance is bloody expensive, especially for young drivers. But I know here for a fact that in Russia, although the car will be more expensive, the insurance is a flat rate, I believe. Russians can correct me on that if I'm incorrect. I was waiting at a train station, waiting for a train at 7 o'clock in the morning. It didn't arrive. I was trying to go to work. And then I was like, fine, half an hour until the next train. I'll just wait. It didn't arrive as well. So also, public transport in itself is unreliable. It's unreliable and inconvenient. So getting a car to live in Russia is a must, in my opinion, if you live outside of a city. And for the people wondering, I'm still wearing my trainers, my Reeboks. I've ordered things on Amazon. I don't have an army. A lot of people say go to the army shop, but I don't have one. So I've ordered on Amazon, and I'm just waiting. And right now I'm freezing. So yeah, я еще ношу джинсы и обувь, да? Если я сказал правильно, я не знаю. Я еще изучаю. Извините меня. Like, that just looks absolutely disgusting. What is that? That's one product in Russia I will never understand. That's one product that I just think, I'm not buying that at all. What is that? What is that? Fish. What's that? Porridge and meat. I'm back in the square where I was maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago, when the weather was a little bit different, and I want to show you. Look at this Christmas tree. How big is your Christmas tree in your city? This is a small, I think they call this place a micro rayon or something, which means micro city. So it's a mini city, and this is for New Year. If you don't know, Russians have their Christmas in January. And yeah, and here you have a sign that says "S Novim Godom," which means New Year, or I think it means New Year. Another point I want to mention is that Russia does everything with paper. No digital stuff whatsoever. Everything's paperwork, every single thing. In England, it's the complete opposite. If you want to submit your taxes, if you're self-employed, online, digital. Everything's digital. Over here in Russia, especially when I was doing my visa, everything's paper. So that's another thing to think about, because I feel like we're so accustomed in the UK for it, you know, everything is digital. The only thing we get sent through that's paper is bills. You know, that's it. And that's if you want it on paper. And when they send you the bills, you pay it online anyway. So the paper form is just to remind you, you need to go online. But I thought I'd mention that. Another thing I'm adapting to is the religion, the Christianity, or shall I say the Orthodox Christianity in Russia. And again, this is my perspective. This, just because I'm telling you this as a foreigner, doesn't mean it's 100% true. This is my perspective and my thoughts on living here. Nothing I'm saying here is 100% factual, like, you know, what I'm about to say. For example, Christianity. I find it to be a strong like thing in Russia. That's why I'm walking to this church now, just to show you. I don't know, I just find it so amazing. Because in my opinion, and if there is English people in the comment sections below, tell me, but like, we say we're a Christian nation, but whenever do you see, I don't know, a church that's being renovated, or people standing outside a church and doing a cross, yeah? You know, quite often I see Russian people standing outside a church, or they walk past and they do they grab their two fingers and their thumb and they make the sign of the cross. And I just find it interesting because you have such a beautiful church like this everywhere in Russia, and this is just, to be honest with you, that probably isn't the most prettiest church, but it is pretty. I love its aesthetic, its wooden aesthetic. And I don't know, I just think like adapting to the religion here is such a good thing for me, and I feel like it's such a strong thing. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. I want to have a discussion, but look how beautiful that church is, man. I think that's absolutely amazing. But what I love as well is that it's not hidden. It's not hidden whatsoever. Like, behind me is the main road, so everyone that drives past will see that. And I don't know, like I've just said, it's my opinion. Russians in the comment section, am I wrong? Let's have a discussion. I want to know these things, you know, but that's how I see it. And maybe I see it that way because as a foreigner, or not as a foreigner, as an English person who lived in England, we talk about being a Christian nation, but no one, or hardly anyone, ever practices the Christian values or goes to church. So that's why I mention it, because at least here in Russia, you say you're a Christian nation, and you guys go to church, and you keep the churches in good order, yeah? And I'm not even sure what they're doing here, but next to the church, if you can see, I don't know what they're building, but yeah, it's interesting. And there's a playground next to the church, so people bring their children there. Tell me if I'm wrong, you know, because I'm not right on some of the things I've said, and I'm happy to be told that I'm wrong. I think I'm gonna end the video over here because I just find this clear sky and the sun so beautiful. Gotta be careful. I'm walking on black ice as we speak. But look at that, I just find that so beautiful to look at. It makes such a difference. The weather, like, it's so strange. The weather here it's cold, it's really cold. It really is. And it's inconvenient, like snow, you slip in, all these other things, but it's so beautiful at the same time. I just love it, absolutely love it. And the irony is, some people going, how are you finding this beautiful? Look at the dirt pile and all the mud, icy mud. But I don't know, just let me enjoy the moment. Maybe that's why I'm happier than you, you know. To all the Russians leaving comments saying, you know, well done with your Russian, advising me on what boots to wear, what clothes to buy, and so on. Thank you very much. And to the foreigners, if you're enjoying these videos, you know, let me know in the comment section below. This is why I make these videos, because I like to have a discussion. If I'm wrong about things such as, you know, cars, which I'm sure I am wrong, tell me. I'm happy to be told that I'm wrong. So yeah, this is why I make these videos, because aside from, you know, the higher quality videos, which do take me a long time to make, like an incredibly long time, I make everything, edit everything, the thumbnails, it takes me a very long time. This is why I like these types of videos, because we can have a discussion and you know, talk about my life here. And yeah, that's it. Please drop a like and subscribe to see more videos about me sharing my real raw experiences here in Russia. My raw experiences, my raw thoughts, my raw interactions. Showing you real life. Thank you very much for watching. Catch you guys in the next one.